For the final time this season, Friday Night Football brings us to Edmonton, which means one last chance for the Elks to deliver a victory at home. 0-8 this year, 16 losses in a row, dating back to October of 2019. For the BC Lions, a win here tonight would go a long way. They would lock up a home playoff date in the West semifinal against Calgary. There's a lot on the line here tonight.
Well, they got the win last week against Winnipeg, and they scored twice on defense. One of the guys, their veteran, 8-year defensive back, TJ Lee, had a 102-yard interception return for a touchdown. That was one of two on the night against the Bombers in that win. And this is the guy who'll be looking for TJ Lee. He gets a start tonight. 24-year-old Trey Ford out of Waterloo will start for Edmonton tonight. Taylor Cornelius is injured.
Chris Jones, been a little bit of a rough return to Edmonton this year. 0-8 at home. Outscored 95-29 by that guy, the BC Lions. So far this year, a win tonight would lock up that very important home field advantage against the Calgary Stampeders in a West semifinal. Of course, the winner of that game would advance to the West final in Winnipeg. We are locked and loaded, ready to go Friday night in Edmonton. And we are underway. Short kick from Castillo. That'll be bobbled out for grabs. Edmonton's got it. What a start. They have it at the 50.
It's a live ball. Crosses 10 yards, little pooch kick to get things started for the Elks. The Lions won the toss. They chose to take the ball. That ball just mishandled, and the Elks get the first possession of this game.
Mike Dubuisson on it after bounce off a couple of sets of hands. Finally, he was able to grab it, didn't mess around, straight down, in great field position to start this game for Trey Ford in at quarterback. Injured earlier in the year. He'll hand it off to Kevin Brown. Brown wrapped up, tracked down from behind, and taken down by Matthew Betts.
Well, I mentioned Waterloo. Trey Ford, head right winner in 2021. Had the start against Hamilton way back, it seems like a whole year ago for the Edmonton Elks. But he won that game as the starter for Edmonton, then was injured early in the next game against Calgary. Really hasn't seen a lot of playing time since. Got a little bit of action last week, but gets the start tonight because Taylor Cornelius, their starting quarterback, is out.
4 receiving options to the right here for Ford. Takes off, takes it down inside the 40, still going to the 30, and they'll track him down just inside the 25. Flag earlier in the play, and then another flag at the end of a 28-yard scamper from Trey Ford.
The second one was right at the
unnecessary
tackle.
roughness or scholar tackle, BC number 1. We're going to go up the distance and a first down.
That'll be tacked on. This is a horse collar tackle at the end of this great run by Trey Ford. Inside cut there, and then it's Gary Peters that grabs it from the shoulder pads behind. The ball carrier doesn't have to go backwards necessarily for this to be a horse collar. He grabbed from the behind, and it looked like he let go pretty quickly, but that was enough in the mind of the officials to tack on the penalty yards.
A nice start for Trey Ford. Now they'll work from the BC 12. Ford's got it again, takes it down inside the 10, working with this Edmonton starting offense presented to you by Expedia.
David Foucault will move from guard out to left tackle for Martez Ivey. He is out due to injury. Jesse Gibbon will play for Foucault at the guard position. There is a bright spot for the Edmonton Elks. It's Kevin Brown at tailback. If he'd played the entire season, he would be looking at a 1,400-yard season. 6 starts for him, 466 yards rushing.
He stands in there right now, over to the right of Ford. Ford looking, throwing it to the end zone for Mitchell. Got it, touchdown! Edmonton, they strike first. Ford finds Mitchell for his 4th touchdown of the season, and Edmonton couldn't ask for a better start to this game.
You could tell they're desperate to get the win. Both teams want this win badly for very different reasons, but you can't throw it any better on that fade route down in the end zone than Trey Ford does there. Out on the outside shoulder of Dylan Mitchell, where only he has a crack at it. That left foot inside the white stripe. Great throw and catch.
When you look at bright spots for this team moving forward, Mitchell is certainly one of them. Got an opportunity earlier in the year when Kenny Lawler went down initially and has not looked back. Castillo out for the extra point. And he's able to knock it through, and Edmonton leading 7-0. Trey Ford, after a 28-yard pickup with his legs, finds Dylan Mitchell for a 7-yard strike. Celebrate. Edmonton on top.
Well, Lions won the toss. We're supposed to get the ball first, but a mishandled pooch kick ends up in the hands of Mike Dubuisson. Trey Ford goes to work. 28-yard run to get set up for a beautiful fade route throw to Dylan Mitchell for the first score of this game, and the Elks on the board immediately.
Phenomenal season continues for Mitchell here as a rookie. Right back to Anderson, who dropped that first one, has this one under control, and will be wrapped up in the middle of the field. And now Vernon Adams Jr. will get the football.
Well, since taking over as the starter for the BC Lions, he's 3-2. Sort of win one, lose one has been the story for Vernon Adams as the starter in BC. Came in, beat Calgary, and then in the rematch against the Stampeders, didn't look great and lost that game. Beat Ottawa, lost to Toronto, and then last week a big win against Winnipeg. Winnipeg, of course, not playing all their starters, including Zach Collaros, but regardless, the Lions needed to win. They need one more for home field.
Looking to get that here tonight and not have to worry about it next week. They'll hand it off to Butler, pushes ahead, and the big piece of this BC Lions starting offense.
Well, Suk Chung missed a couple of games. He's back at guard, and Philip Norman is out again. Jarrell Broxton will play in his second start. There's your all-star, one of them, Western all-star and certainly CFL all-star. He's number 2 in the league. Dominique Grimes, the leader in that receiving corps, and they're close to getting Lucky Whitehead and Brian Burnham back, possibly next week.
And maybe a quarterback as well, right? So BC Lions getting healthy maybe at just the right time. 2nd and 3 for Vernon Adams. Turns around, hands it off to Butler, breaks the tackle, now kicks it up to the 50, and that'll be a first down. They had him behind the line of scrimmage, but he was able to avoid that first tackle against this Edmonton defense.
Yeah, I highlighted the guards for the BC Lions O-line because their challenge tonight is Jake Ceresna, who's got 10 sacks. That's good for 3rd. Now they moved Matthew Thomas from defensive line, where he had 13 starts this year, to middle linebacker. See how he plays there. Scott Hutter has led their team in defensive plays all year long, and we'll see Donovan Olumba in his 4th start out at corner.
They'll give it back to Butler again. He's got a huge hole, first down and more. Takes it inside the 45, and BC looking to answer back with a solid drive of their own here.
Well, this drive was continued on that last play because of this guy right here in James Butler. I mean, that was all second effort on that first one. They had him for a loss. That was good blocking up front for this 16-yard gain on first down and a new set. But that last play, Butler did it on his own.
3 carries, 28 yards for Butler. No pass attempts just yet for Vernon Adams. 3 options out to his left. That's where he's going to go. Gets it to Alexander Hollins. And Hollins will be stopped short of a first down, but first completion of the game for Vernon Adams.
You mentioned how much the Lions outscored the Elks in their previous 2 games, and it was substantial. This guy just had a monster week 1 with 4 TDs, 2 on the ground, 2 through the air.
We did that game, if I recall. They were all in the first half.
Yeah.
He had 4 touchdowns in the first half of that game. Beginning of a long season for Edmonton. 2nd and 2. Pipkin into the game, trying to take it wide. He'll have the first down and eventually forced out of bounds just inside the Edmonton 25.
And James Butler's had a nice average in his last 5 games. Almost 7 yards per carry is really helping bring balance to this BC Lion offense. And you mentioned like those first 2 games against Edmonton, Nathan Rourke played in both of those. Put up big numbers, almost 1,000 yards passing in 2 games, and I believe it was 8 touchdowns, no interceptions, and then the running ability of James Butler mixed in.
Butler, prior to this 5-game explosion, was averaging just 44.9 yards per game, and they're a heavy diet of Butler in the early going of this one, and probably because it's working. 5 more yards for Butler there.
Yeah, again, some changes in the front 7 for the Elks. Again, moving Matthew Thomas from D-line to linebacker. See how much he actually plays in that spot. But Jordan Maksimic, the offensive coordinator for the Lions, could just say, well, let's test their run defense. If they're going to make that many moves up front, let's test them. And they've got Christian Rector playing defensive tackle as well.
2nd and 5. Adams dumps it off to Butler, turns, faces the defense, pushes ahead, and he's got another first down on an excellent effort after turning around, seeing 3 Elks there, and just deciding to go pick up that first down.
Yeah, that's the second play on this drive that James Butler has extended the drive through second effort, because he's caught right here. He's short, but that extra effort, that one guy who misses, that's how Butler gets to that first down marker right there. He gets tackled there, they're kicking a field goal.
Instead, it's 1st and 10 from the Edmonton 12. Looking to answer back after falling behind 7-0 early in the quarter. Back to Butler again, trying to kick it to the outside, tripped up and taken down. Nice tackle made on the play. Was that Serezna reaching out and tripping him up?
Well, that was maybe a touchdown saver right there, because just great vision here. I mean, this is James Butler popping outside, little jump cut, and he's got the edge with some pretty good blocking from Hollins. The receiver coming down to try and seal the edge, and look at Butler's reaction. He knew he had a touchdown.
He was thinking of Major, wasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we'll see if they tuck it back into his belly again. 5 carries already on this drive for 38 yards. 2nd and 5, Vernon Adams steps up, looks towards the end zone. Back there, they got it. Touchdown, BC. Keon Hatcher, his 5th of the season, and the Lions answer back.
Well, this is a James Butler drive. Capped off with the throw, yes, but the James Butler drive a couple of times, extending it with his effort, and then when Vernon Adams breaks out of the pocket and is wide open like this, as a defensive back, you are wrong whatever you decide, because if you decide to come up and try to tackle him, you have to leave your man, and Hatcher, Keon Hatcher in behind, does a nice job of finding a hole.
Sean White out for the extra point. He's at 51 of 52 so far this year. You can make it 52 of 53 to cap off a 9-play, 71-yard response from the BC Lions. Vernon Adams Jr. right into the numbers. Keon Hatcher, Adams, his 6th passing touchdown with the Lions.
Calling that the James Butler drive for a major, because this was on 2nd down, the 2nd play of the drive. He was caught in the backfield, made one miss there. This was the dump pass. Again, 2nd down, made a man miss when he was held short to get a new set. That gave Vernon Adams this chance to throw it to Keon Hatcher at the back of the end zone. But 2 big plays by Butler got it done.
So, Bug, baby, that was for you. You know what time it is. Big Falls. I love you, baby girl.
5th touchdown of the year for Hatcher, also closing in on a 1,000-yard season.
Yeah.
Not bad. You know, Burnham's been banged up. Lucky Whitehead's been banged up. He's managed to stay healthy and contributed very nicely to this offense so far. Christian Salisbury takes it just inside his 20, and that ball is bobbled. BC had a great crack at it. Did they hop on it? No, Edmonton got this back. Whoa, that ball was right there for the taking. Trey Ford will have the ball when we return to Commonwealth. Well, it was a rough ride last week for Cornelius. Took a heavy shot here, came out of the game for concussion protocol, ended up having a spleen issue that put him in hospital. Trey Ford got an opportunity. For more on Trey Ford, let's send it down to Tom Gazzola.
Yeah, Dusty, Trey Ford making his first start since week 5, where he suffered that shoulder injury, kept him out for an extended period of time. Talking to Chris Jones this week heading into the game, what was your message for Trey Ford? I asked him, and he said, Trey, just go out there and beat Trey. Use your feet if you need to use your feet to make a play happen. We saw that on that first drive. for the Elks. Now, we'll see if he can carry that confidence. Asking him about last week when he came in for Cornelius, he said he had the confidence to go lead the team down the field. Obviously, it didn't work out the way he planned. As for Cornelius, guys, suffered a spleen injury, spent a couple nights in hospital, out Tuesday, back with the team at practice on Wednesday, has been in and around the guys 4 weeks to heal for that spleen.
Good update on Cornelius, and nice start here for Ford. An important game for Trey Ford.
Yeah, important game for Trey Ford. Taylor Cornelius signed a new contract. He is the starting quarterback here in the foreseeable future, but if Trey Ford can have another good game, can find a way to get that win at home after all of this time,
that'd be huge.
Give this city and the fans here that have been so loyal the over 20,000 that they've averaged this year, and I know that's down, but give them something to really talk about in the offseason. Trey Ford has a big night.
Near side for Arsenault. Manny Arsenault breaks the tackle, picks up a first down with some great extra effort, eventually forced out of bounds with the first catch of the game for the veteran.
But I just, when I think about, Trey Ford being, first of all, competition for Taylor Cornelius in training camp next year. Competition brings the best out of everybody. I'm not putting Trey Ford in the starting spot because Taylor Cornelius has earned that throughout the season and showed a lot of toughness, by the way, in that game against Toronto.
Toss it out to Brown. Big block to free him up, but he's tracked down from behind and taken down by this BC Lions defense.
Yeah, pretty good defense. I mean, second in the league against the run, second in the league against the pass, right in the middle of the pack in points allowed. Up front, Matthew Betts, every now and then a GM must go, oh, darn, should have kept that guy. Jordan Williams leads the team again in defensive plays, defensive tackles, and then in the back end, TJ Lee and Marcus Sales both with pick sixes against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers last week.
TJ Lee's went for 102 yards later in that ball game. Here's Ford, 2nd and 8. Has some room to run. Now he's going to throw a deep shot down the field for Mitchell. Goes up. Can't hang on. Defended well. TJ Lee was there. Mitchell almost made a play on that.
Well, the play, the throw is incredible because it gave Mitchell a chance, and it's rolling to the opposite side, to the left side, which is hard for a quarterback right-handed to get that body around. We've talked about many times, but that's against the veteran in TJ Lee, and that's why I squared up that matchup before the game. TJ Lee, the veteran halfback who had a 102-yard pick six last week against the young Trey Ford. He's going to try and jump one tonight.
That was amazing because Mitchell hung up there. Would have been a phenomenal catch. And
he pulled it out.
He gets up there, pulls it out with one hand. Excellent defensive play from TJ Lee. Terry Williams on the return, wrapped up right about the 30. Edmonton looking for a big chunk to deep threat Mitchell. What a play by TJ Lee. Not in his house. Ford wanted it, didn't he? 2 kickoffs, a return for touchdown. I'm going to lose my mind and pass out. That's what's going to happen in the booth if that happens. Butler to the left of Vernon Adams Jr. They'll give it to him again. Butler, nice cut, pushing ahead, stumbling his way. Looks like enough for a first down. What a start for James Butler, 11 more yards.
Yeah, clearly Jordan Maximic, the offensive coordinator, has just decided to go ahead and challenge the Edmonton run defense and just see how that front seven holds up with the changes they've made. And throughout the season, they were 9th in the league against the run.
Butler is now just 38 yards away from a 1,000-yard season. Down the field for Rhymes. He goes up and gets it. Snuck in behind the defense. His first catch of the game is a beauty.
It is, and it is because he shows his veteran savvy when the ball arrives. He stabs the ball rather than lift his hands up early and give away to the DBs that he's going to end up right in here. Give away to the DBs that the ball's on its way. I mean, Rhymes he was the inside player, but he comes on that corner route. And watch him flash his hands at the last second just as the ball arrives. Hutter couldn't get there in time.
Puts him over 1,300 yards on the year, 2nd in the league among receivers. Butler stays on his feet, spinning away. Are you kidding me? James Butler. Woo! Holy smokes, what an effort.
He wants 1,000, doesn't he?
He's 1,000 on this drive.
In 87 coming in to get to that 1,000-yard mark. We talked to him last week, and he's got it written down. He wants to get there. You're seeing some outstanding effort. Different types of ways to make that first, second, and in this case, third man miss.
Hard 7 yards for Butler. Leaves them in a very manageable 2nd and 3 on the Edmonton 34. Back to Butler again. Lowered his shoulder this time. That'll be close to the 3 that they needed.
Offensive line that has been together most of the season. They missed a couple of games from Suk Chung, as I mentioned, and Jarrell Broxton is playing for Philip Norman right now. But other than those changes, and this is start number 2 for Broxton at left guard. They're running confidently behind those big boys.
Yeah, for the first 3 quarters of the season, that group was pretty much together the entire time. Pipkin into the game, 3rd and inches is what he needs, and that is what he's got. Takes it down just inside the Edmonton 30 after turning over ball on the first kickoff of the game. BC settled in nicely here.
Yeah, and you know, I'm not surprised that the O-line has improved over the last couple of years here in BC, because in some cases there's a lot of the same personnel. Suk Chung, Joel Figueroa, guys that have been in BC, but when Kelly Bates took over as their offensive line coach, you knew things were going to change. He's a stickler for the details. He got them right.
Fresh set of downs just inside the 30. Back to Butler again. Clearly, there is a focus on using the ground attack tonight. And he's got a short pickup on 1st down.
Yeah, the big boys on defense now. That was Mac Henry and Jake Serezna, both trying to rally their troops to say, look, they're going to keep doing it until we stop it. And that's what you got to do, is hold them to 2 or less on that 1st down, and then it starts talking offensive coordinators out of running the ball as much.
Force their hand a little bit. Final play of the opening quarter. Pretty good first quarter here at Commonwealth. 3 options to the right for Vernon Adams. Looks to his left, in trouble. Trying to get away, and eventually will be tracked down from behind. Avery Ellis able to wrap him up and bring him down. And that'll bring up 3rd down for the BC Lions. And that'll do it for the opening quarter here in Edmonton. Elks looking to finally win one at home. This helped early, but the BC Lions trying to wrap up 2nd in the West. James Butler, Keon Hatcher answering back. Welcome back to Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton. Elks and Lions tied at 7. Edmonton looking to pick up the first win at home here in 1,105 days. Not off to a bad start. We'll see how this plays out.
Yeah, a good start, good touchdown throw by Trey Ford. We've seen some James Butler with the BC Lions offense, but yeah, that's a long drought. I mean, October of 2019 against the BC Lions was the last time that Edmonton won at home. That game, Michael Riley was the starting quarterback for the BC Lions. He was hurt in the first quarter, and Danny O'Brien took over. Guess who was the starting quarterback for Edmonton that night?
I'm cheating because I've seen the clip 9 times. This is Logan Kilgore.
Logan Kilgore. It was a while ago now.
Sean White cruising along at 90.9% this year. Former longtime Edmonton kicker. And he knocks this one through 10-7. BC goes on top. Here it is, 16-game home losing streak. That's a long time.
Yeah, over 1,000 days, and as I mentioned, over 20,000 fans that have been the average here at Commonwealth. And you know, whether they all come or not, I'm not sure, but there's been 20,000 over 20,000 ticket base. There's some highlights from that game. Again, Michael Riley was playing for the Lions. He got knocked out in the first quarter early. Jason Moss, the head coach, that was the last win, October 12th. Believe me, Edmonton wants to win this game and have a bearable offseason. If you lose your last game, the offseason sucks.
Home or away, let alone throw the streak aside. Nice little play here to get Mitchell involved. He picks up a first down.
And home or away, and whether you win the championship or not, it's you know, and the teams that go in the playoffs, obviously only one team is going to come out of that as Grey Cup champions, and every other team in the playoffs is going to end in a loss. But you know, when you haven't made the playoffs and it hasn't been a great season, boy, you want to win that last game, and you just cut it loose, leave it all out there, and that's exactly what the Elks are doing and did in that first quarter.
First down from their own 53. Ford flips it out to Brown. Brown turns it up at midfield, takes it down to the 40. Another nice pickup for Kevin Brown.
Yeah, and I've really been impressed with the composure of Trey Ford here, who, you know, this is a fairly simple high percentage throw, but he puts just enough air on it and throws it out in front of Kevin Brown so he can take it with his eyes up and knows exactly where to go with it in a 17-yard gain for number 4.
Brown's been targeted 18 times since joining the team. He's caught 17 of them so far. First and 10 from the BC 40. Ford with a ton of time. Now he's going to be chased towards the sideline, trips and falls. Ball will bounce out of bounds.
He wanted Kai Loxley on this. Trey Ford was locked into a deep out by Kai Loxley to the wide field. He's right here, and he's got the one-on-one, and he's waiting for him to get to this out. But Loxley just takes too long. Watch him sit here waiting for this out. He's got lots of room. I think he went way too deep on it by then. That pocket had started to break down, and Trey Ford had to take off and try to get what he could. Little stumble there, and that would have been considered a forward throwing motion, looks like.
Ends up losing about 12 yards on the play.
Ball down.
Empty backfield. Salisbury will swing in behind him. Ford's going to take off on second and long. Trying to leap over a defender's grabbed as he does and taken down by Ben Hladek after a 6-yard pickup.
Does that give him field goal range? I don't think it will.
Doesn't look like it. Looks like John Ryan's going to come out here to kick this away.
I'm going to say with the play call looked like it was called for Ford to take off and run. That was the design to try and get enough to get the field goal team out there if you didn't get the first on second and a whole bunch.
It's been about, what, a 53-yard kick. We're going to opt to try to play the field position game here with John Ryan.
Steele's longest is 52 this year.
Really not much wind here at all either way. Ryan, end over end. This will drop down just outside the 5 for Williams. And he is taken down after a 39-yard kick. Pretty good job there by John Ryan. Vernon Adams Jr. will have the ball and the lead when we return to Edmonton. Recently hopped on the F1 bandwagon, and I love every minute of it.
You and a whole bunch of people that watched a documentary or
Great
something.
series. Great series. Vernon Adams will start this drive on his own 12. No surprise here. They give it back to Butler, and no surprise here. He's got almost to a first down.
Yeah, guys up front getting a good push. They get, you know, you always have Javon Catoy, who's going to help in that blocking. He's going to be a big part of the run game. Get out there and get on the edge and make sure he gets the kick out block. You don't have to destroy a defender. Just get in his way, cut him off, and don't let him get to your ball carrier.
Second and inches, also known as Pipkin time, and he will push ahead. Should be enough for a fresh set of downs for the BC Lions.
James Butler is going to get to 1,000 yards in this first half. At this rate, he's 17 yards away now. Kadeem Carey, first to get there on the season, and there's James Butler closing in. Kadeem will play tomorrow night in Saskatchewan.
Grady Oliveira got a crack at it still, too.
On the bye week this week.
From the Lions 23. Pressure coming, it's picked up. Adams looks down the field for Hatcher. Broken up on the play. There's a flag back down the field. It was Donovan Olumba in his second game with the Elks. Made a pretty nice play on Keon Hatcher.
Yeah, Olumba, I don't think is the problem.
Illegal contact on receiver. Edmonton number 95. 10-yard penalty will result in a first down.
That's Avery Ellis.
Yeah, Javon Catoy was running from sort of the tight end position like he was going to block. He was coming out of the backfield, and Catoy is right here, and he's going to come out. I believe he's the guy who gets interfered with, or the illegal contact. Watch 95 grab him right there, twist him as he tried to get to that out route.
Tough play there for Ellis. First and 10 now from the 33. Adams, couple of nice moves to avoid being sacked, and comes away with a positive gain.
Well, one thing that, you know, I mentioned it's kind of been win one, lose one for BC in their offense with Vernon Adams at the helm. But the one thing that he's done very well, and I'm for Lions fans, I'm knocking on wood right now, he's protected the ball. He's over 140 attempts now in his starts with 0 interceptions.
I know you knocked on wood, but you still shouldn't have said it. Still shouldn't have said it. 3 to the right here for Vernon Adams. Over the middle, he's got Hatcher at midfield, eventually taken down on the play, but they go right back to Hatcher, right over the middle again, and this time he hangs on.
Well, I believe it's just 3-man pressure from Edmonton, so lots of time for Vernon Adams to allow Keon Hatcher to get into that open area against his own defense. Nice 28-yard, good throw, kept it nice and low into the stomach so that if there was a defender coming downhill to hit him, he could protect the ball and himself.
Vernon Adams, 5 for 5, 77 yards and a touchdown. A couple of them to Hatcher for a total of 35 yards. Now out to his right. He's going to look for another big chunk down the field, and that is broken up. Dominique Rhymes was there, but Jamie Harry stepped underneath that pass from VA.
University of Ottawa product. Drafted originally in 19 by the Toronto Argonauts. A chance to play. He bails here. He knows Rhymes got some speed. Bails out, but then he makes a nice blind turn, comes back and cuts underneath to get his hands on the ball. Nice defensive play.
Harry was a member of the BC Lions defense in 2019 up until last season. Second and 10 from the Edmonton 47. High snap. Adams gets it. Now he's in a little bit of trouble, uses his legs, finds some time down the field, and he's got a man all the way down to the 20. It's Rhymes. Great job by Adams to not get taken down there. 27 yards to Rhymes.
Yeah, and it's great patience, Dustin. I mean, this is 3-man pressure again, and he's not panicking. He's waiting, finding a little lane to step up into, and sooner or later, one of his guys is going to open up, especially against zones. You can see the Edmonton Elks are playing spots on the field, not man-to-man coverage. One of those zones is going to open up. He's just being patient.
Adams is attacking the middle part of that zone defense. Now they're going to get it out into the flat. For Hollins working one-on-one against Harry, and Harry does a good job to make sure he doesn't miss him.
Yeah, good tackle in the open field. This is the Elks' chance to walk off the field and say, hey, we bent a little bit here, but we didn't break and held the Lions to a field goal attempt, but they got to do it right now on 2nd and 8.
It's the 9th play of a drive that started back on the BC 12. Chris Jones watching on as his defense has allowed 81 yards on this drive so far. Butler stands in to the right of Adams. Adams trying to escape, face mask on the play, dumps it off to Butler, and Butler will cut it back up the field inside the 10, still going, and eventually taken down at the 5.
Face mask, Edmonton number 94. We're going to go after distance from where the ball became dead, and it will be first down.
Or do they take the play if it's closer? But it looks like they're walking out the penalty, and there's clearly the face mask.
No arguing that one.
No.
He's either about to do an Elvis impression or he's not very happy.
I would say the second choice.
Probably.
B.
So now it's first and goal from the Edmonton 2. Butler in behind Vernon Adams. They'll give it to him. Butler tracked down. Probably just shy of a line of scrimmage. Looks like he lost a yard on the play.
It looked like the timing was a little bit off, but the part of the reason for that was the Edmonton Elks front seven reacted quickly. Another chance for a stop here.
Big Jamin Pelly in the middle of this defense. 6'6", 320. Chris Jones loves him. Spoke very highly of him earlier in the week. Adams. Back to Butler again. This time he's in. Touchdown, BC. James Butler with his 7th rushing touchdown of the season, and a huge day for number 24 continues. Is that the can?
I guess so. I guess so.
Haven't seen
like
that one yet this year.
And a little high five action. Let's see up front. Nice push to the left. Little shake and bake move in the backfield. And then they get the chorus line together.
That's when you talk about before the game, right? You don't.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's planned. Okay.
There's a meeting about that one. Sean White, extra point, knocks it through, and the lead is 10. BC Lions. 17 points in a row. James Butler's 7th touchdown of the season, an 11-play, 98-yard drive, and yes, they can. They're on top, 17-7.
Let's go back to the touchdown, Dustin, do a little math. This is Jarrell Broxton right here. He weighs 325 pounds, and in that linebacking core is Adam Konar at 225. Now, Broxton's going to block down, and then he's going to step up to the second level, and right there, 325 taking on 225. Who wins that one usually?
Well, Konar's got a lot of heart and energy and work ethic in him, but that's a tough one.
Yeah, I would take 325 every time on that matchup.
Let's keep going, fellas.
Care if it's Adam Konar, Willie Pless, or Dan Kepley. Oh, well, wait a minute. Dan Kepley might have.
Kep might have found a way.
Yeah.
There's Salisbury. Takes it outside the 35.
Let's go, man.
That is where Edmonton will start. 17-7. BC on top. Courtesy that man. James Butler. Adams. Loving it. Just over 5 minutes remaining here in the opening half. Trey Ford and the Elks down 17-7. 4 options over to his right. He's in trouble right away. There's a flag on the play. He escapes and now wants to try to take off on the far side of the field. Dumps it over to Mitchell. And it'll fall incomplete. Some hands up by the face mask again.
Face mask.
Yeah.
BC number 90. 15-yard penalty will be enforced from the previous line of scrimmage. Automatic first down.
That's a nice job by Andre Prue, our head ref, to just make that call really quickly. He saw it right away, made the call quickly. They'll move forward. There's the face mask. And 15 yards for the Elks and a new set of downs.
Be nice to put together a drive here, though.
Yeah.
Offense.
No, it's absolutely. Even a field goal here to slow sort of the new momentum from the Lions over the last couple of series.
So the ball up to the Edmonton 51. Ford looks down the field for Walker. He misses him. That'll fall incomplete just inside the 25. He hasn't been shy of getting this ball down the field, that's for sure.
Yeah, he's pushing it. And you know, sometimes like that early one to Dylan Mitchell, that was a nice jump ball that was, you know, a nice play by TJ Lee to break it up. That one was a little bit long, although some coverage issues there on Darrell Walker with Sales right in his hip pocket, so it looked like he threw it right to the outside shoulder, so he didn't throw a pick. But you know, when you push the ball like that early in the game, can loosen up the defense a little bit in that second half.
Ford is 4 of 6, 37 yards and a touchdown. This time over the middle, looking for Arsenault. And Arsenault got a hand on it, but could not haul it in.
I like the mechanics, like the, you know, this is Arsenault to the left of your screen, who gets to that spot, and I'm not sure why he didn't get that other hand up there. It looks like he may have just kind of,
I think Purifoy might have been
Purifoy was just messing with his left arm a little bit, just enough to not get it up there in time. Because that ball looked like it was thrown where it needed to be thrown.
3 consecutive punts for Edmonton. Oh, I don't know how that one wasn't blocked. Ryan got it away. It'll be taken at the 25, 34 yards. But he just got that one away. BC was right in his face. Well, James Butler, lots to talk about for us here in the first half and for the panel coming up at halftime. He has been excellent, closing in on 1,000 yards. Has a touchdown as well. No shortage of things to talk about at halftime.
Yeah, well, 15 yards short. May get it before we get there. The panel. How about the game last week for Terry Williams, who returns here? Elks have done a pretty nice job containing him, but he had over 340 yards against the Bombers.
5th most in a game in league history. Butler. Here's a big pickup. Boy, that might take him to 1,000. Needed 15. Might be just shy. I hope he got it in style. That was a great pickup for James Butler.
Boy, and this is the time of year you want to get your run game going. I mean, who knows what the weather's going to be like. Well, if they win this game, it'll be inside.
That's true.
In the West Semi, but after that, who knows?
1,000-yard season in the bag for Butler. Adams with a completion on the far side. First of the game for Cotoy. We've hit the 3-minute warning at Commonwealth. Vernon Adams Jr. leading the Elks 17-7.
Coming up at the half, we of course will break down this game. We'll show you highlights from the last game, and we're getting into the Halloween spirit here.
Check them out. This is Purifoy right there.
Videos.
Look at that.
Terrifying the children that are here.
Scare people. Yes, they should.
Pipkin, 2nd and short. Take another crack at it.
He almost blew that dead before the snap of the ball.
Is that what ended up happening there?
Well, it looked like they blew the whistle early, although
they ran the play, but now they're gonna still set 2nd down.
Same distance, so
same
reset.
Distance, so they reset it, yeah. So they'll get to another crack out of here. 2nd and 2 from midfield for Pipkin. Trying to lunge ahead on this one. Apparently, he snapped it before they even blew the play in last time. That's why they reset it back at 2nd and 2 here. And it looks like he's just a bit short. Bring up 3rd down.
But to come in 2nd down and 2 with Pipkin, it tells you what they're trying to accomplish here. Is they're going to go for it on 3rd down as well, no matter what he gets. Confidence in their O-line, they can go get a new set that way and just grind this first half down and finish with points.
A couple of long drives so far in this game. 9 plays for 556 and 11 plays, 625. Multiple flags here. Pipkin's running back to an official pointing in the ear of Andre Proulx here.
The players have got to be instructed that the command center can help Andre Proulx in real time right now. They're looking at the replay right now and they're saying we'll help you and we'll tell you exactly who moved first. He's listening in. So the players trying to talk their way to either a first down or a stop here is not relevant. It's not helping.
Legal procedure. BC, the O-line move without the ball being snapped.
Multiple members of that offensive line moving a little early.
And that puts the punt team on the field. That's a penalty that potentially takes points off the board, because they're about a first down away from. Pipkin tried.
Trying to see what his argument would have been in that one.
Well, he was trying to say someone in the interior moved, but it was his offensive line that all moved early.
So 3rd and 6, Flintoff will let this fly, averaging 47.5 yards per kick this year. That takes a very nice bounce for BC. Salisbury picks it up, pushes it back out just beyond the 20, a 44-yard kick.
Yeah, the Elks wanted a no yards penalty there on that bounce, because a bounce back this year is a 15-yard penalty as well. That would have been important field position. Get Trey Ford in his time as a Heck Crichton Award winner. That's basically, if you're watching from the U.S. somewhere, that's the Heisman Trophy of Canadian college football. And Trey Ford was the winner of that award for Waterloo.
Led to him being drafted 8th overall. Highest for a quarterback. You got to go back to 1980. Somebody who'd been drafted higher at the position. Had a chance early in the season prior to an injury, and then after getting healthy, been watching Cornelius for the most part. Getting a shot here in the final game of the season with Cornelius banged up. Hands it off to Brown. Brown, good push. Nice pickup on 1st down. 2nd and very manageable for this Edmonton offense.
Yeah, I like the first half of Trey Ford's. I mean, you know, you obviously want a couple of those deep balls to be completed, but he hasn't been afraid to sling it deep. He's looked composed in the pocket. Hasn't looked rattled at all. Couple of good runs. That first one on the first drive, a 28-yarder.
They haven't had the ball a ton either. BC's done a good job controlling it here.
With James Butler on the ground, yeah.
Loxley into the game, pushing ahead, looking to get to the 40. BC's basically had double the time of possession so far in this ball game.
Hey, you know, Kai Loxley is, he's a guy, he's a special asset. I've just got one little coaching point that I got from Matt Dunnigan. Years and years, in fact, I think we were still playing. He's got to get on the rice. And what I mean by that is it's a workout for your hands, that if you get a big, huge bucket of rice, it's not cooked rice. Don't cook the rice. Just fill it and then jam your hands in there and squeeze the rice, because he is a special athlete.
Whoa! Here's an interception. Ford overthrows the intended target. It's Marcus Sales, and he's tripped up and taken down, but a huge turnover with 90 seconds on the clock in the 2nd quarter.
Just as we were talking about it, but anyway, Loxley works on the rice. He'll be a good receiver next year. Hey, listen, this is back-to-back games for Marcus Sales now.
He almost took this one back.
Yeah. I think Trey Ford kind of just missed him. Gets him with his right leg. I'm surprised there's no penalty flag there.
What it does do is it sets up great field position.
And that's the mistake. That's the first Trey Ford mistake.
Couple of trips to the red zone, delivered both times. Adams back to Butler, reaching ahead, and he'll be stopped short on the first crack at it.
Now, do you go Pipkin twice here, or do you go back to James Butler?
Well, Pipkin has come into the game. You could show Pipkin and then still hand it off to Butler. Always an up. Mix it up a bit, right? This will be Pipkin pushing ahead, I would think, in this situation.
Yeah, now he's taken a couple wide, too.
Pipkin slides up under center, and he will go wide with it, looking for the end zone, far side, and he's in. Touchdown, Pipkin. Strung it out, found the corner, and got home for his 7th rushing touchdown of the year.
Didn't catch the number of who was trying to track him down, because he bubbles back. I mean, Pipkin on the first one in that very first series for BC here tonight. He went wide to the left side, straight along the line of scrimmage. That time he bubbled back, actually gave up a couple of yards, but he got to the cone.
A very tidy offensive performance from the BC Lions so far. Butler a monster on the ground. Adams is 9 of 10. White with the extra point knocks it through. 24-7 the score. And now Pipkin getting involved on the ground.
Yeah, and you know, just we were talking about a decent half for Trey Ford, pretty good half for Trey Ford on a couple throws and good opening drive. He makes the mistake that sets up a touchdown, just a little bit too relaxed on that throw to Dylan Mitchell.
Too much air on it.
Yeah, he just relaxed a little bit. His technique suffers, and it goes a little high and into the hands of Marcus Sales and ends up in the end zone.
Look, here's what this game's about. Would they like to win? Of course they like to win. But it's about learning experiences for Ford, right?
Yeah.
He likely won't do that again.
Yeah, and you know, I'll be honest with you, we talked about Taylor Cornelius is their guy, and he's signed a new contract. He'll be the guy next year to start training camp, but I may have played Trey Ford tonight anyway, even if he was completely healthy.
You very well could have, and nobody would have really said anything.
Well, you got to see what you got and give him some experience and have him come into training camp next year and compete for that job. As I mentioned, competition brings the best out of everybody.
He has 3 carries for 39 yards. He's certainly a threat on the ground. Salisbury takes this at his own 20. Back to the 30. Picking his way through outside the 40, taken down and wrapped up just shy of his own 45.
There's Kevin Francis in there, number 2 for the BC Lions. He comes into this game tonight leading the league in special teams tackles, and you know, I just wanted to make mention of that. Mike Miller's been the guy in Winnipeg for years and the all-time leader, but you know, the special teams guys, I used to cover kicks back in the day, and it's not easy. It's a tough one. I've also often called it a 40-yard brawl.
Hey, it's really that deep.
Kevin Francis is a leader.
That dude.
Ford gets it to Mitchell. Mitchell tries to cut it back. Peters was able to slow him down long enough. Fox eventually came back and took him down after a pickup of 9 yards.
They can hustle here and get some points back, even if it's just a field goal attempt.
And now Ford will stay on the field, push ahead, and that'll be enough for a first down.
2 first downs away from a field goal attempt here. Got to be...
After the turnover, you'd like to, I mean, even if you can get 3 on the board.
Absolutely, you got to be efficient.
Just 3 carries for Kevin Brown so far in this game, but as we mentioned last time BC got the ball back, they have had it for the majority of the first half, so not a lot of opportunities for this Edmonton offense, but Brown's been such a find for Chris Jones and the Elks, one of the bright spots emerging from a season of darkness for the franchise. There's another one too. Mitchell up, slowly walking off.
Yeah, both guys keepers.
Yeah, I mean, if they're going to be back next year, that's a couple of guys you can promote around the city, using some advertising campaigns. Both of them have shown star potential.
Yeah, building blocks. Absolutely building blocks. 2 good quarterbacks that are going to do nothing but improve.
That one falls incomplete. Niger Jackson was the intended target.
Yeah, he comes off the bench and just not mentally ready. That ball put right where it had to be. Now, we saw Manny Arsenault miss this same throw, but you can't throw it any better.
That would have been his first in the league. I'm sure he'd like that back. Targeted 3 times last week, including on the final play of the game. He was the guy that Cornelius threw that ball to in just his first game. 26-year-old, Southeast Louisiana University. 2nd and 10 for Ford. Flush out of the pocket on the run to his right, gets it to Brown. Brown fumbled that ball, or at least it'll be incomplete, is what they're going to rule the pass. Looked like he had control of it ever so briefly, but Williams right on his back.
was taking another look at that. I just wondered if Jordan Williams touched that before it went out, or could it have been ruled a fumble in BC ball? No challenge. Incomplete was the ruling. Edmonton will punt.
Trey Ford started 4 of 5, including a touchdown pass, 1 for 6 since. Leads to Ryan kicking this away. High kick. Will drop in just inside the 20. 40-yard boot from Ryan, taken by Williams. Short return, and one last crack here. 21 seconds left for BC in a pretty comfortable spot.
Yeah, and that Trey Ford stat, the 1 and 6 since that drive, that early start. 2 drops, Manny Arsenault and that one we just saw.
Yeah, that's true.
To Jackson. Dylan Mitchell has that deep ball in his hands, and TJ Lee pulls it out of there.
Great play.
So could have been 4 of 6 in just his job. And obviously that one interception was the mistake.
That was a tough one. Vernon Adams gives it to Butler. Butler already at 1,000 yards in the season, reached that tonight. He's closing in on 100 yards in the first half of this football game.
Yeah, that'll be the discussion on the defensive side of the locker room in the Edmonton Elks room. It'll be, hey guys, we gotta stop the run. I mean, 24 is almost at 100 yards in the first half.
He's only had 2 100-yard games on the season. His season high is actually 108, and he's on pace to blow past that here tonight. Nice first half for a BC Lions team that has blown out the Elks twice. They're in full control here tonight as well. Friday Night Football, 24-7. The Lions with the lead on the Elks as they head into the room at halftime. Let's send it to Kate and the panel in studio.
And that panel would be David Sanchez, Matt Dunnigan, Milt Stiegel, and with Lions with a commanding lead at the half. And we have to start with James Butler in this one. Just a tremendous running performance so far. 91 yards on the ground, surpassing the 1,000 mark, Milts.
The Butler did it. He's been doing it all year long, and he continues to do it. And when you think about how do you describe an elite running back, he basically checks all the boxes. Yes, he's a great running back running the ball. As you just mentioned, Kate, he's now gone over 1,000 yards. So it's between him and Kadeem and Cash and Carey who's going to lead the league in rushing. I don't know if Brandy Oliveira will get an opportunity. Then you ask, well, can he catch the ball out of the backfield? We know he can do that. He's leading all running backs in receiving yardage. So the other one is, will you be willing to stick your nose in there and block? And yes, he will. Just look at this right here. Just leveling a defensive lineman. And as an offensive coordinator, as a head coach, as a running back coach, as a quarterback, as a defense, you love to see when you're running back. Of course, you know he can run the ball, he can catch a ball out of the backfield, but is he willing to block? And that's what James Butler's willing to do. Complete running back, one of the best in the league.
Buying time for his man VA, who is 9 for 10 right now. Last week he was only 60% completion against Winnipeg. Not a great game for VA, but today you see him spreading the ball around. He's got 4 different receivers with at least 2 receptions. He's throwing the ball on time. He's throwing it on the move, and I say he looks comfortable out there. That's the VA. Just those little. When I talk about VA being an athlete, I don't mean straight ahead, downfield speed. It's just that little movements in the pocket that I always have said that he's extra special with. Just the quick little movements in there. But he's throwing the ball on time. He's throwing with zip, and I agree, he looks comfortable.
Yeah, and I think this young quarterback on the other side reminds me a lot of VA. Yeah. He's very quick like that and slippery, right? But he's just young. And, you go back to week 4 when he beat Hamilton. In that ball game, he was 15 to 26, 159 yards, and he had like 61 yards carrying the football. 1 touchdown, 1 pick, and that's the biggest thing. And we know he can do this, and this is that slipperiness and that speed and athletic ability that he showcased at Waterloo. And certainly this past year, the Combine, as he drafted in the first round. And that touch throw, that's beautiful. And this one right here is another touch pass to Kevin Brown on the back. Letting him do his thing. But early in your career and late in your career, you're going to have throws like this, and you just got to learn. And then you got to do this too. And I made a lot of these tackles, Trey Ford, because I did a lot of that in my career over 14 years. And you've got a skill set, and this is valuable time. And I love how they're getting him these valuable reps too, because this football team's going to be better off for it. And you just can't get those reps during the offseason. He's going to learn from this, and he's got 30 more minutes to play in front of him, and it's going to be huge for the growth process.
Were you a good tackler? All those picks, were you a good tackler, man?
Dude, I was a beast.
You were probably better than Chaz.
You learned how to tackle.
You were better than Chaz, because you were a horrible tackler, Chaz.
And I threw a lot of picks, Chaz. Yeah,
horrible tackler, Chaz.
I was a good tackler. Yes, I was.
All right, Chaz?
We were talking about Matt.
I know, and all of a sudden, Mill just has to chime. Yeah, no, it makes sense. How was your tackling, Mill? Was your tackling great?
When they threw an interception from me, I'm running off the field.
No, I was going to say, you were going the opposite way. You were
my Danny McMahon. I wasn't paid to make tackles. I wasn't paid to make tackles.
All right, this was great. Coming back after that, there was an earlier game. We're going to break down Ottawa and Hamilton right now.
Focus on tackle. Focus on.
That'll be bobbled. Up for grabs. Edmonton's got it. What a start. Going into the end zone for Mitchell. Got it. Touchdown. Looks towards the end zone. Back there. They got it. Touchdown, BC. James Butler. Woo. Holy smokes. What an effort. Back to Butler again. This time he's in. Touchdown, BC.
Week 20 in the CFL wraps up with a doubleheader on Saturday. First up, it is the Argos taking on the Montreal Alouettes. You can see that 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific. And then this is a big one as well, especially for Tiger Cat fans, as they watch the Calgary Stampeders and the Saskatchewan Roughriders. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific wraps up the week. Speaking of those Hamilton Tiger Cats, their game was earlier against the Ottawa Red Blacks. And this is Seth Small nailing a 30-yarder to win it for Hamilton. So they have done their part. But will the Saskatchewan Roughriders win or lose on Saturday? You'll have to watch to find out. But it is time now for the Advil play of the game. And this was a beauty. Cedric Wilcox strips Nick Arbuckle. It was that kind of night. A beauty defensive play there from the Tiger Cats for your Advil play of the night. Credit to the Ottawa Red Blacks. We've seen this happen so many times this season. They fight till the end. They end up losing in their playoff hopes. Absolutely crushed. But for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, they've now won 4 of 5. They got a little bit of heat going into the playoffs. This was monstrous for them to take care of their business today, Meltz.
Resilient effort, you know, and the way they started off the game, but the way they finished that first half didn't look like they were going to get it done. But they came out and they fought and they made it into that fourth quarter and found a way to win. And give a lot of credit to the players, but I want to talk about this coaching staff. Head coach Orlando Steinauer, what he's been able to do. Tommy Condell and Mark Washington, defensive coordinator, who in my opinion should be a head coach real soon. These guys have found a way to dig this team out of a ditch. Of course, the players are the ones who are doing the majority of it, but you have to have your coaches motivate and be able to drive these players, and this coaching staff has done a great job.
Yeah, 4 out of the last 5 games, they've won football games, and they've beaten Calgary, they've beaten Winnipeg, and they've beaten BC. They should have beaten Montreal. They got the job done against a tough out in Ottawa tonight, and they had to beat themselves too, because they turned the football over. And I thought, if you can win a couple of phases of the football game, you're going to win. And they did that with special teams and defense. And I thought defense took over this football game. And Micah Johnson in particular, and Santo Knox in the middle. I really thought that this football team stood out and found a way to win a tough out and give themselves an opportunity at 7-10.
Yeah, I've seen some performances from Hamilton that have left me unimpressed, you know, in the last couple months. But you made a comment in the pregame about them having a shot to go all the way. And watching this game and the way they won, to your point, Matt, it did tell me that they have a shot. Just because they can do what they have defensive playmakers, right? They have offensive playmakers, special teams.
Too, right? Belief.
They believe it. I think they're special teams. They're a well-coached team, to your point, all the way around, overarching. I do see how this team can be a tough out. I know I've seen some bad play from them, but maybe question that. But I do see in a playoff scenario how this team could be a tough out.
You know what? The Dana Evans injury, too, will be interesting. I mean, Matthew Shields was great. He orchestrated that great drive. He uses his legs a lot, was tremendous. He's great in clutch situations, but I just...
key play, that draw got them, that was a key play of the game.
I just think, though, in terms of experience, having Dane there is a huge thing. But again, too, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. We will find out, certainly, what happens with the Tiger Cats and their injury status. Meanwhile, we have a game to wrap up in Edmonton. The BC Lions up 24-7. James Butler standing by with Tom Gazzola right after this. Time now for stats with Flow Riders #1 fan, David Sanchez.
In a game that means a lot, you got what you wanted from this BC Lions team all around. In particular, VA, 90% completion percentage, taking care of the rock, and most importantly, 3 for 3 in the red zone.
Here is Tom Gazzola standing by with James Butler.
James, you guys have a nice, healthy lead going into the half. You eclipsed the 1,000-yard mark for the first time in your career. You're coming up to 100 yards tonight. How important and special is that to you in your career?
I got to give it to my O-line. You telling me right now, it's the first time I'm hearing it, so it feels good. Credit to the O-line, credit to these coaches, man. It's just been a great year. But we got 30 more minutes. We got to finish this game.
Speaking of that, Coach Rick Campbell said that he wants to build up to the postseason. You guys peaking at that point, where are you guys at in that process in your mind?
Just continue to execute on offense, defense, especially. That's all we're trying to do. We're trying to get better each game. We know that these games mean something. We know how important it is to be playing meaningful football this time of the year, so we're going to try to keep going.
James, thanks for the time.
Thank you.
James Butler and the BC Lions. I don't know why he was screaming.
That's good.
I don't know. He's very excited to be interviewed, I guess. They're up 24-7. We'll get you back to Commonwealth right after this.
Edmonton Elks trailing 24-7 at the beginning of the third quarter. Trey Ford is with our Tom Gazzola.
Trey, your first start since week 5. How would you assess the way things went in that first half for you? You get that touchdown on the opening drive. How would you assess it?
Yeah, I mean, it was a good opening drive. Other than that, I don't think I've done super well, but we got to come out here and play second half, and we're going to play better this half for sure.
Chris Jones talked about emptying the tank, treating these last couple games like it's a run to the playoffs. What do you expect from your group if you want to play better and have a little success in the second half?
Yeah, we just have to come out here and execute, honestly. A lot of it's on me, too. I got to be a little bit calmer in the pocket. I got to make some better throws to receivers. So.
Trey, thanks for the time.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Well, he's owning it.
Yeah, I love it. You know, just taking full accountability and got to be better. That one that floated high and Marcus Sales took back. He wants that one back and see what kind of second half he can put together. Couldn't agree with Matt Dunnigan more, though, that playing Trey Ford tonight and having him learn some valuable lessons is going to be important moving forward.
Salisbury takes this just inside his own 30. Flag on the play as he brings it back outside the 40. And he is taken down as we get a look at Trey Ford's work in the first half tonight.
Yeah, really love that first drive. We saw what he really can be, which is a great athlete and runner. That was a 28-yarder in the very first drive. I believe it was play number 2. And look at the accuracy on this fade route over the shoulder of Dylan Mitchell for the first score of the game. We saw some good runs. We saw the athleticism, and that was the mistake. Just got a little bit too relaxed, overthrew a high percentage throw, and Marcus Sales took it back.
Less than 11 minutes of possession in that first half for Edmonton. Over 19 the other side of the ball for BC. So Edmonton will hope to have the ball a little bit more for Trey Ford to work with it. And this guy as well, Kevin Brown. And he is wrapped up just his 4th carry of the ball game.
BC Lions defensively are good against the run, but that doesn't mean that Kevin Brown shouldn't see the football more. I mean, that's how you can get that balance. And plus, it it plays to the strengths of a Trey Ford, where he can run the RPO and the ride to side type of plays, where he rides ground with the ball, and then he can pull it if he wants and get the edge, or give it to him in between the tackles.
Trips to the right here for Ford. That's where he's going to look first. Goes over the middle, almost intercepted again. Might have been a little bit too high for Mitchell, shorter down the field, or maybe he was looking for Kai Loxley, where that ball eventually ended up.
I think that ball got tipped to the line of scrimmage too. Just taking a look at the way the ball came out of that pocket. Yeah, Halada got a hand on it right at the line of scrimmage.
John Ryan out to kick this away. Standing and letting it fly from his own 10-yard line. Great field position here. 37-yard kick. Williams hammered down at midfield on the return.
So a little halftime interview with James Butler after a really good first half for Butler. And we told him in the interview that he had hit 1,000 yards. He didn't realize that until he was told at halftime, and it was quite the reaction. He told exactly, you know, how important it is for tailback to get to that 1,000-yard mark. He was just told, and he goes, "All right!" And everybody got a little slap as he went by.
Just slapping butts everywhere.
1,000 yards in that first half. Not 1,000 in the first half, but 87 he needed to get to 1,000.
Might have felt like 1,000 for the Elks defense with the way that he was running in the first half, closing in on 100 yards here. It'd be his third 100-yard game of the season. That might put him right on the mark, actually, as they spot that ball at the 50. That should give him 100 yards. It does. 100 yards on 16 carries for Butler.
And if it's not broken, try and fix it.
Second and 5 from the Edmonton 50. 3 options to the right for Adams. That's where he throws, and that's intercepted. Wide open on the far side of the field. This will be taken back down to the 30. Donovan Olumba, first career interception. And he returns it all the way back down to the BC 10. First interception thrown by Vernon Adams.
Yeah, this is either a mistake by Adams or a mistake by the receiver, and because he throws it right to Olumba. Go ahead and run it, guys. I want to see the route, because it looks like on the top of the route there, Jacob Scarfone was either supposed to run the out to where that ball was thrown. That was a timing throw, and it looked like Vernon Adams was trying to throw the out, and Scarfone ran a curl route inside.
54-yard return after the pick for Olumba, playing in his second game in the Canadian Football League. They'll give it to Brown, hit heavily as he takes it down inside the 10.
Mama, baby, I love you. Thank you for all the...
Take another look. That's just the wrong route run, it looked like, by the receiver. Olumba sitting on the outside, gets his first. And the fans thought he was going to score. Just like, well.
Sione Tehema is down on the field being looked at right now by the Lions staff. We will step away, try to get you an update when we return to Edmonton. Well, the good news is Sione Tehema is up and walking off the field on his own. Kind of got his head bent back here.
Yeah, he's right here. Came in to this game leading the defense in tackle or in sacks with 8, and you could see just he was trying to get to Kevin Brown from behind. Luchez Purefoy was tackling him. It looked like he just got that neck bent back a little bit, but he walked off and was moving, which is a good sign.
2nd and 7 here for Ford. Looking to the end zone for Mitchell again, trying to one-hand it. Pass interference. Gary Peters looked like he was holding Mitchell's left hand down. He's going to argue it. You know we'll get another look at it here.
You guys can go for a walk.
But it was Peters working on Mitchell. On
automatic first down.
Yeah, they've already called it. It's pass interference. I think they're fine until right here. Right here is where Peters just holds on too long, doesn't allow him to move the left hand up.
Pretty clear cut, I think.
Yeah, the hand fighting up to that point was fine.
Ty Loxley slides in under center. Looking to punch in another rushing touchdown for him. Whistles on the play, flags flying everywhere.
Illegal procedure. Edmonton number 61. 5-yard penalty. We're going to replay first down.
That's big Steven Nielsen. 6'8", 307.
Big for a couple of reasons, because after that fake throw that drew the pass interference penalty flag, like Trey Ford came off like something didn't feel right. He was limping a little bit and laboring a little bit on the sideline, and he's got to come out now after this penalty.
Here's Ford now off to his left. Makes a nice move, looking for the end zone. Stop, just short, thrown down by TJ Lee. Coming right into your living room there.
Boy, he's dangerous. He gets outside. He can run now, and that's a great move to just freeze Ben Haladik, the linebacker. Get down to the 1-yard line. Now they get back into short yardage.
Bit of a wrestling finish there from Lee. Loxley, another crack at it to finish this thing off for Edmonton. Pushing straight up the middle, touchdown. Elks get on the board here in the third quarter and cut into the BC Lions lead.
Just one good offseason with the Rice, and Loxley's going to be an outstanding receiver.
Been pretty good in this role so far this season.
Well, absolutely. I mean, he can throw the ball. He's rushed it now 47 times. That's his 7th touchdown rushing. Outstanding athlete, starting receiver. He's got such a tremendous upside. I just think he needs to work on his hand strength. I've seen him miss a couple that he should have caught throughout the season. That if it went right through there, the Rice will help him with that.
Castillo making it a 10-point game. Rice is great for when you're hungry and you want 1,000 of a something. 24-14, BC on top.
I ain't cursing on TV this time.
He said he's not cursing on TV this time. He's learned his lesson. Well done, 25-year-old Kai Loxley.
Hey,
out of UTEP.
A lot of young guys in the roster for the Elks throughout the season and this game. Be a lot better football team next year.
Terry Williams trying to push ahead, and a flag on the play as he's hammered down right at about the 30 on the return. Vernon Adams Jr., 9 of 11, 127 yards, touchdown, and the interception first as a member of the BC Lions.
Yeah, and for BC Lions fans, I take full responsibility.
I wasn't going to point it out. I wasn't going to go back. I was being a good teammate.
I take full responsibility. I mentioned in the first half he hadn't thrown an interception as the starter for the Lions, protecting the ball very well. And of course, even though I was knocking on wood, he throws one here in the second half.
As Olumba was returning, I was going to yell, "You've ruined it, Glenn!" Chance for Adams with a 10-point lead to get this offense back on track. Rare mistake that he's made since joining the Lions in place of Nathan Rourke. Rourke return looming, of course. They'll hand it back off. And a small push ahead on first down for 100-yard man, James Butler.
No, but a nice job and a good decision to get Vernon Adams and get him in Vancouver when Nathan Rourke went down. Rourke went down with a 8-1 record and was really, was tearing it up.
He was cruising.
There are many right now that are still going to vote for Nathan Rourke as the outstanding player in the league. I keep hearing and reading on Twitter. Zach Collaros is a front runner in that regard. playing all season, but
2nd and 7 for VA. Time in the pocket, far side of the field, and he drops one in there. Hollins came back to the ball for his quarterback. 3rd catch of the game for Alexander Hollins.
yeah, I think he wants the ball more. It looked like he was getting up there feeling pretty confident, and comes back, makes a nice catch. That's a tough one to make. You got to come back, get your hands underneath the ball. You can't let the ground support the catch. New set for Vernon Adams.
Hollins appears to be an intense young fellow. Stepping in, great opportunity here with a couple of veterans banged up. Back to Butler. Looking for a hole. Not much of one there. Short pickup on 1st down. 4 yards.
Yeah, you know, I think the Lions have found another one in Alexander Hollins. I mean, he had that big debut. And, you know, I also want to give a ton of credit to Keon Hatcher. And, you know, Hollins is a new guy, but has not looked out of place at all. Hatcher has been so versatile. When Whitehead went down, Hatcher plays his spot. When Burnham goes down, Hatcher plays his spot. Was playing great at his own spot, but has been versatile, played all across the board.
Adams underneath to Rhymes. That'll be a 1st down for the BC Lions. Hatcher's interesting. I asked Rhymes about Hatcher this week because when they have Burnham and they have Whitehead and they have what Rhymes is doing, Hatcher kind of flies under the radar, but he's flying under the radar for what's likely going to be a 1,000-yard season this year.
Absolutely. He just needed 65 yards coming in.
He's got 35 tonight, so he's 30 away.
So he's closing in on that. And, of course, his teammate Dominique Rhymes closing in on 1,300 yards this season.
Hatcher, just his 2nd year in the league with the Lions. Near side. Back to Hollins. Spinway, but is taken down. Trying to work away from McConzo there.
2 games that you mentioned between these 2 teams early in the season. Lucky Whitehead had over 250 yards in those 2 games. 12 catches, so the Elks happy they're not having to cover number 7, or at least try to.
A little bit of a nightmare sometimes.
Yeah.
Lions need 5 here for a 1st down. Pressure coming. Adams stays on his feet, gets away. Now comes over on the near side. That's hauled in. What a catch by Scarfone. And that's a lot of work from Vernon Adams. But he picks up a 1st down and more. Lost a shoe in the process.
Yeah, he blew a tire, but he got it out there. And that was full blitz. That was Chris Jones saying, we're sending everything. We're sending all we got. And that's what the panel talked about with Vernon Adams and his athleticism and his ability to escape. He's got an 18-yard gain, beats the blitz, gets it out to Scarfone.
I'd like to welcome our viewers joining us on TSN 3 after a little WTA action. BC Lions leading Edmonton 24-14. Adams on the roll to his right. Down the field, that's Hatcher. He'll take it just outside the Edmonton 30. There's a flag back at midfield on this play, though.
Yeah, it was after the play was dead. It was after the throw, after the... it was just the flag that was late.
Adams is backing up quite a ways here.
Peter Godber.
Major foul. Unnecessary roughness. Peel back block. BC number 51. From the previous line of scrimmage, we're going to go back 15 yards, and it's going to be 1st down.
Yeah, you can't do this. This is against Jake Serezna, the center, Peter Godber. Watch how he, number 51, stay with him there at the top. He comes back towards his own line, and on a peel back, it's a blind hit that Jake Serezna can't defend himself against. That's a 15-yard penalty.
1st and 25. Adams looking for it. Oh, back right here, almost intercepted. Hutter had a great look at it. Would have been his first of the season, but he couldn't haul it in.
It's been a great season, though.
It has, you're right.
For Scott Hutter. I mean, a guy that kind of got put in there by default early in the year and just didn't give the job up again. He's played great at the safety spot. He's led the team in defensive plays and defensive tackles. And from the safety spot coming down to make those tackles, that's wanting to be, that's a lot of desire to want to be around the ball.
Second and a huge chunk here for Adams. They'll get it out to Hollins. Breaks a couple of tackles shy of midfield, and that'll bring up third down and haul Flintoff into work.
We read a note here with Scott Hutter and Adam Konar. Adam Konar, number 2 in defensive plays, and read that note from Steve Daniels saying that it's the first time in Edmonton history that a Canadian will lead the team in tackles and defensive plays. I mean, they've had Willie Pless and Dan Kepley and a lot of great defensive players here in Edmonton through the years. Adam Konar second to Hutter in defensive tackles and defensive plays.
Well, McConzo's right in there as well. They drafted him 4th overall in this past draft. There's a Canadian, Trey Ford. Get the ball when we return. The 25th year of Friday Night Football means Friday Night Football trivia. Who holds the Edmonton quarterback record for rushing yards in a game? Here's the hint.
Tracy Ham.
Happened on a Friday night.
Damon Allen.
I mean, everybody's probably yelled out on their TV, Damon Allen! We'll see. Answer is on the way. Don't go anywhere. Here's Ford. He's got 46 yards rushing. He'll hand it off to Brown. And Brown, did he fumble him? Looks like he does. BC has it. And they're trying to push back the other way. Manny Rugamba came away with it. And Brown heads back off to the sidelines with a disappointing look on his face.
Yeah, well, every replay or every turnover is replayed, and the command center will take a look. Let's see if he's down by contact before the ball comes out. Well, it's really hard to tell there, but you see the ball bounce out of there. It looks like before he hits the ground. This angle may be better.
The ball was fumbled prior to...
There was no whistle until after the recovery.
Upon review, the ball carrier was down at the 47 yards after recovering the fumble.
Touch the ring,
First down.
So the ball was fumbled, recovered, but there was no fumble return.
Exactly, that's what they're saying. He was touched before he got took off. So.
Shout out Pops. Heart for the ones I love, and another one going to Pops.
Manny Rugamba, who's fit in here very nicely as a part of this BC Lions defense this year.
That might be the first fumble for Kevin Brown this season in his 6 starts. Certainly hasn't in the games that I've covered, but
he's controlled the ball very well so far this season. Yeah, there really haven't been many blemishes to his game. It was Williams who started it with a heavy hit on Brown, kind of knocked that ball loose, and then Rugamba slides in. Rugamba on the right there, Williams on the left. And they work together.
He settled in nicely at that linebacker spot.
Adams dumps it off. Catoy, and the big fella's going to rumble for a first down, trying to get free, still going, and eventually they will blow it down. There's a flag right at the end of the play. Catoy's going to take it to the house just for fun, but it's officially a 17-yard pickup, and there is an injured member of the Edmonton defense down on the turf.
Well, we'll take a look at the play while they sort out that injury, but yeah, you see Catoy starts here, and he's gonna, as he comes out here, he's gonna stumble a little bit and then have to kind of regain his balance. Watch him kind of shoot through. He stumbles.
Nature foul, blindside block, BC. The foul occurred after the gain of the first down. We're going to go back 15 yards, and it's going to be first down BC.
that on Hatcher?
So a blindside block. I think if you're watching number 4, Hatcher.
Yeah, but again, you can't go back towards your own line of scrimmage. Those blindside, that's relatively new. I mean, I'm talking the last couple of years. Was Ed Gainey. And the idea there is that it was a player safety rule change a few years back where anything where you're coming back towards your own line of scrimmage. I mean, we used to see some knockout hits on those because you can't see them when you're pursuing as a defender.
Rabre on the field in a lot of pain as they continue to take a look at him. We'll step aside. And they're taking a closer look at him. Here's what happened. There he is, 92. Friendly fire.
Yeah, how many times does that happen?
It seems quite often, doesn't it?
It does.
He'll give it to Butler, breaks the tackle. McConzo trying to wrap him up from behind and will eventually get some help from Avery Ellis, but 9-yard pickup for Butler.
It's what you want out of your tailback, but the first guy has not been able to bring James Butler down tonight. Not once.
Focus on tackling here the rest of the way, I guess, for the Elks, trying to get that elusive win at home. Not a great position right now, trailing by 11. Butler again, straight up the middle this time. That's a first down for BC. And he is running all over the Elks.
Yeah, it's really about gap cancellation, and with the 3-man front and your linebackers 3 or 4 yards off the line of scrimmage, you know, you can get a guy like Jarrell Broxton, we've seen a couple of times now, get to the second level, either blocking Adam Konar or Matthew Thomas or McConzo. Get those big old linemen on the linebackers, you can win the line of scrimmage.
Whistles here. Butler, not only a season high tonight.
BC number 8. This is a 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Also a career high for Butler with 124 yards on 20 carries. Boy, if you get this guy cranked up a notch here down the stretch into the playoffs, and some of your other guys back and healthy, his offense could be firing on all cylinders.
Well, look at the West. I mean, you got Kadeem Carey, Peyton Logan in the run game in Calgary. You got Brady Oliveira in the run game in Winnipeg. You got James Butler in the West in the run game in BC going. Going to be some kind of playoffs. Can't wait. Do they get home field?
Trending in that way right now. 1st and 15. Pressure coming on Adams. Trying to spin away. Gets it away. And sliding underneath it. No. Incomplete. Jeremy Harry wanted his first career interception. Just a tad late getting there.
Well, let's take a look. Did he get his hands underneath? Is that McConzo? Yeah, it was. Chasing down. Adams didn't want to see if Harry gets underneath. Oh, he's blocked. No, it looked like it did bounce.
I think Chris Jones.
Well, let's take a look again here. This is probably the best look, but
is that his hands that it bounced up off of? Boy, tough to see on that look.
Tough to see, but he
challenging the previous play. We believe the pass was caught by their defender.
Here's
the play will be reviewed.
As far as Chris Jones challenging this one, here's the concern for him. Is there enough evidence? I mean, he was
very well might have been an interception, but
that's
we have to look at it.
That's what I mean. He was standing right there. He's on that sideline real close. Another look here. That looked like it might have been his right hand that it hits.
Still tough to see.
Was that his arm? Whew. I don't know. I'll tell you what. Maybe there is enough evidence there. Do you see enough evidence? I don't know if you. Again, it very well may be a pick, but is there enough evidence to overturn it?
I don't know. Looked like it might have bounced just before it came up to his chest.
Yeah, because you can't tell definitively. In that, you need that to be able to overturn what was called on the field.
Happy I'm not in a position to have to make this call. Let's get a ruling.
After review by the command center, the ruling on the field stands. Edmonton is charged a timeout, and they're out of challenger.
Well, it was there for the taking. He was there, just missed it.
Yeah, and you know, I think it's a good challenge because Chris Jones saw what he saw.
It's worth it?
Yeah, because he didn't know what the angles showed. Yeah. You know, he just was hoping that there was enough there and an angle that would show.
2nd and 15. Edmonton defense needs a stop right here. Adams near side, and they will get a stop. Harry taking down Alexander Hollins, making his 6th catch of the game. That's a team lead, and he's caught all 6 targets thrown in his direction.
How about Sean White, former Edmonton Elk, has missed 1 field goal in his last 10 games. I mean, almost 91%. I know what you're thinking.
I know. I think the last one he missed, I said the same thing, and I jinxed him. This time, he's able to knock it through, and his phenomenal season continues. He was 4 of 4 last week. There's a quarterback that can run the ball, and let's get to your Friday Night Football trivia answer.
It's got to be Damon Allen. Come on.
Allen seems like a reasonable guess here. Friday night, Edmonton quarterback.
Oh, wait a minute. That's not Damon Allen. Is that Neil?
It looks like Neilon. Is that Neilon
Green? That's Neilon Green.
There he is.
It's not Ricky Ray. I was going to say 15 was Ricky Ray for a couple of years here. And I don't remember him running.
Not like that.
Quite like
Ricky
that.
move a little bit every once in a while.
He can throw it.
What's up with the 15s? Green wore 15, Ricky Ray 15. Kilgore was wearing 15 the last time they won a game. Now here's Mitchell. Big completion. And Cornelius wears 15 as well. First completion of the half for Trey Ford. Once again, Edmonton hasn't really had the ball a ton.
Foul, unnecessary roughness. Edmonton number 84, 15-yard penalty, and a first down.
That was right at the, that's just a bad decision. Manny Arsenault knows better than that. I mean, you see him to the right of your screen there, 84. His teammate's down, and he just walks right into Gary Peters. I mean,
that looks like he had a grudge that he was trying to get some payback for there. Not a smart decision from Manny Arsenault. Ford steps up in the pocket, tries to escape. Ball, did that pop out? BC's trying to hop on a loose ball. They say they have it. Will the officials back them up? Yes, turnover. BC Lions defense comes up big again.
I think it's Jordan Williams. You know, Chris Jones, as we reported early in the game, wants Trey Ford to be Trey Ford. I mean, he wants him to be Trey Ford, but Jordan Williams goes on a blitz and then comes back out of there, hangs on and spins him around and doesn't allow him to get his left hand on top of the ball to protect it here. That play was made by 21, Jordan Williams, because Trey Ford's trying to protect the ball, and he can't. And then he gets it punched out with the left hand. And Williams.
Scooped up by Thibaut Dubaye, who was an Edmonton global draft pick. And they did not bring him back this year, so that probably feels pretty good for him. Far side. Into the hands of Hatcher for another big chunk from Vernon Adams. Williams, last year's most outstanding rookie, putting together a pretty decent sophomore campaign.
Oh yeah, absolutely. almost 100 defensive plays.
He's all around it, isn't he?
Yeah, over 80 tackles again. And a big strip there. Forced fumble.
Final play of the third quarter. Butler. A couple of hard yards. End up with about 4 or 5 on the play. BC 28-14 the lead. The Lions are 10-0 when leading after 3 quarters. Edmonton will try to change that to somehow find a victory at home for the first time in a long time. Fourth quarter coming up in the final game in Edmonton this year. The Elks trailing 28-14, and offensively it's been pretty lopsided tonight.
You mentioned the Lions haven't lost when they lead going into the fourth quarter. The Elks have 11 times lost the turnover battle, and in all 11 of those games lost the game. And that usually happens because the turnover, giveaway, takeaway is so important in football. They got to find a way to break a lot of trends here in this fourth quarter to get that elusive home win. The Lions trying to lock up home field advantage in the West semifinal. If they win tonight, they will play that semifinal game against Calgary at home.
BC, their last win at Commonwealth, you have to go back almost 3,400 days. Last time they won here was July 13th, 2013. Adams down the field, looking for Rhymes in double coverage, and it drops just over his head.
He had a chance. Hunter was coming from the middle pretty hard, but this was a matchup that I think that they like to get Enoch Maconzo on the coverage. I mean, he can run now, but again, it was just a communication issue where Rhymes thought it was going to be more of a hard cut to the post or to the corner, and VA thought he was going to just sort of seam it almost.
Sean White 2 for 2 in the same range tonight, and he'll knock another one through. The former Elks perfect night. Well, what a pickup for BC. I know special teams for them. Return game was something they were looking to address with the Terry Williams trade. Looks like it's starting to come together, but the kicking game has been automatic here for Sean White. Knocked another one through. BC up 31-14. They'll get it to Brown, and they've done a decent job containing him. Mind you, that's just his 7th attempt of the ball game.
Yeah, that play was made because I believe it was Bolacombo stepped up the field and cut him off. I mean, the importance of just getting there first quickly to just sort of stop the play. Woody Barron along with him.
Time of possession in this game, 30 minutes for BC, 15 for Edmonton. Ford gets it out to Brown. Brown got by Peters and eventually is wrapped up and taken down by Josh Woods. And that'll bring up third down, and John Ryan will come out to kick it away once again.
Now, you have heard a rumor about John Ryan.
Yeah, we'll have to get into this story a little bit more. He's got some guys in the crowd tonight wearing John Ryan t-shirts. He's 40 years old. They're hearing that this may, no official announcement, maybe he says something after the game, but might be his final professional football game as he gets set to kick this away.
What a great pro for so many years.
So bounce into the arms cleanly of Williams. A decent job containing Williams so far tonight. Maybe a little bit more on that guy, John Ryan, here with the Elks when we return. Well, no confirmation from the Elks just yet, but there's some speculation around the stadium that this could be the final professional career game for John Ryan, who's put together a heck of a career as a punter.
Yeah, unbelievable in both leagues, and that Seattle Seahawk Super Bowl championship. Of course, he was there as his buddies having a great night with their Ryan shirts on. And
they're losing it every time he goes to kick. They're out there losing their mind. They're having a great time tonight. So if it is in fact, and you know, he might address it after the game, but if it is in fact, congratulations to John Ryan on a heck of a football career.
You know, and just to give you an idea of what kind of guy he is. I mean, last year he and his family and his brother Steve created a legacy scholarship at the University of Regina where he attended, and it was a $200,000 donation, biggest ever in University of Regina history, and that legacy will be for scholarships for players for the rest of time. So that's the type of guy he is, just a tremendous pro in both leagues, loves Canadian football, Saskatchewan kid. Congratulations.
Get it to Butler, tackled immediately and taken down. That'll bring up third down as well. First 2 and out of the game for the BC Lions. Tony Jones on the tackle that time. Flintoff called into duty here. Salisbury waits for it just inside the 25. Talk about pieces that might be around a little bit next year. I know the Elks are rather high on the return ability of Christian Salisbury.
They need to find a guy. If he's the guy, great. If not, they got to find a guy.
They haven't had a return touchdown since 2015. I'm not talking at home on the road. I'm just talking at any point. They've not had a return touchdown. Gizmo used them all up. Here's Salisbury. Not going to happen this time. He's taken back out to about the 30-yard line. Trey Ford gets another crack at it here. His team trailing 31-14 in the final game of the year for Edmonton. Well, it looks like a move to BC from Edmonton has really got Matthew Bett's career on track. For more on that, let's send it down to Tom Gazzola.
Yes, indeed, Dustin and Glenn. Matthew Betts in his first year with the BC Lions came into this game with 7 sacks, 25 tackles, and he's become the edge rusher that the Elks hoped he would be when they drafted him 3rd overall in 2019. Now, the unfortunate thing for Edmonton is he's doing it with the BC Lions. And when I asked Betts about that, he said, hey, listen, come back to Edmonton, a little bit homesick. Feels good to be back. I enjoyed my 2 years here, but there's a brotherhood that's formed with the D-line and the rest of the defense here with the BC Lions. And with Nathan Cherry and David Bernard, they've made a nice Canadian trio, guys, that we know provide some flexibility as well as some menacing opponents to quarterbacks.
No doubt about that. I mean, this defense, 43 sacks coming into this game, 2nd in the league, and both Betts and Menard, who kind of rotates in there at that edge position, they're both having phenomenal campaigns.
Great U Sports college career at Laval.
Ford on the run. He's got quite a bit of space, and he will have a big chunk for a first down.
But yeah, that just outstanding college career at Laval, part of the Vanier Cup champions back in his rookie year. And yeah, I mean, didn't have any sacks in 21, and you know, he didn't have a great that great year that was sort of expected, and the bar was high when he was drafted as high as he was. So that's why they, I guess, you know, basically let him go, sign as a free agent with BC, and that's one of those ones that I mentioned where the GM goes, ugh, that's a great Canadian, got away on it.
Yeah, it wasn't this staff that had brought him and drafted him, but they could have had him, you would have thought, but instead he ends up with BC. Ford now, quick gun in there. Trying to find Jarrell Walker. Jarrell Walker, so far in this game, does not have a catch.
But he and David Menard, you know, that rotation, University of Montreal versus Laval, we talked about that last week, where they've mended that
taking care of
it. Taking care of that rivalry. They're teammates now. That's 15 sacks between the two of them.
Well, Menard, obviously, last season, phenomenal year with the Alouettes. Comes back to BC and picks up right where he left off. Lions are going to bring a little bit of pressure here. There's whistles on the play as they eventually calmly and quietly get to Ford. But
so who's your Canadian nominee for the BC Lions?
Don't you ask me a question like that.
Just threw that right out of left.
Why would you do that?
Right out of left field.
I thought we were friends.
Well, Jordan Williams got to be in the conversation, I would think, and then Betts in the season he's had.
I don't know.
I got to vote, I think. Well, I vote after the first round.
So does that count? Does the first round count? Or
well, the first round, he might be in it or not. I mean,
yeah.
It's the local guys that do that first round.
Oh, okay. Oh, I thought you meant first round of the playoffs. I mean,
yeah,
first round. Yeah, okay.
First round of the player awards.
Well, if you're looking at Canadian, what about Nathan Rourke, the season that he had prior to the injury as well?
Well, he'll be MOP nominee.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's
but Dominic Grimes.
Yeah. Dominic
Grimes playing the whole season.
Good issue to have, I guess, if you're the BC Lions. I know Elks fans are listening right now being enough, guys.
Yeah, enough.
We don't need to hear more about how talented and deep the BC Lions are, but they really are. And that's trending towards having home field advantage. BC plays against the Calgary Stampeders.
Objectionable conduct, BC number 19. This is a 10-yard penalty that will result in a first down.
Objectionable conduct. Must have said 19, couldn't have been 19. Defense is out there right now. Could have been Cherry. We talk about, yeah. Thank you, Rhymes. Yeah, W. Rhymes, that wasn't me, I'm over here.
Yeah.
So it must have been Nathan Cherry, who they're very high on as well. He was drafted 3rd overall in 2022, similar to Betts, who was 3rd overall in 2019. First and 10 from the BC 46. Ford, far side. Good throw to Mitchell, and he's able to haul it in. His 4th catch of the game.
Yeah, I know Chris Jones was, really impressed when scouting Trey Ford and talking about his arm talent. Everyone knew he was a great athlete, but really emphasized his arm talent, which is why he was drafted as high as he was, as you mentioned, in the first half. It's not been a wow game for Trey Ford. A couple of mistakes, but as Matt Dunnigan said at halftime, a guy who knows a thing or two about the position, a Hall of Famer. He's going to learn by it.
Has some time here. Has Walker, and he misses him. Wide open. Jarrell Walker, and you see Ford kind of hang his head there.
It looked like he doesn't want a motion to it, but it looked like he thought he was going to break the other way. Just doesn't want to do it too open.
Doesn't want to show up his receiver.
Exactly. And the quarterbacks don't like it when the receivers do it too.
Happens sometimes, right?
Milt. Oh, sorry.
That was Glenn, not me.
Whoa!
Misses Mitchell here. That one came in there a little bit hot. Mitchell couldn't make a play on it.
Yeah, okay, the first one, that may have been a communication. That was just, he rushed it and just airmailed it.
It came in and had the one play last week and threw that interception. Now, this is a guy who hasn't had any game action since July 7th.
Right, and that's, and that's, again, that's rush that throw, overthrew it, and that's where the receiver doesn't want to turn around and go, come on, what happened there?
3rd and 10. Dumps it off to his running back. Brown's going to turn, doesn't have anywhere to go. And he'll be wrapped up. Got around Lacombo, but Gary Peters is right there. Turnover on downs for Edmonton. Their 4th turnover of the ball game. BC's going to get it back with a comfortable cushion. CFL and TSN continues tomorrow with back-to-back matchups. The Argos and Alouettes kick off the afternoon with an intense matchup. That's a huge game, followed by the Stampeders and the Riders in Regina. It all gets underway at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific, only on TSN.
Now, can the Stamps eliminate the Riders after Hamilton's win earlier today?
Yeah, you put the foot down on the throat of the Riders Well, yeah, with a loss, they would. Yeah. Riders need to win out and get some help. BC on the 32-yard line, back into the hands of Butler. Got to be feeling great about his game tonight.
Oh, just outstanding. Just the player of the game for both teams. And well over 100 yards now, closing in on 150 yards rushing in this game. And boy, it sets up an interesting playoff run here. When you think of the teams in it, think of the players that are about to come back for the BC Lions.
Exciting times in the West, no doubt about that. Adams behind the intended target, had to kind of adjust his arm angle a little bit to try to find Couture.
Yeah, he pointed himself. He was trying to throw around the rush there, and he just couldn't get the angle he needed. But yeah, you think about Nathan Rourke, and just to remind the Lions fans just what kind of frenzy that was for the first 9 games of the season. Nathan Rourke had thrown for over 3,000 yards at that point when he was injured. He was on pace for a 6,000-yard season.
Salisbury takes this at the 25. Short return, flags on the play.
He had thrown 25 touchdowns to just 10 interceptions at that point, and was just, I mean, tearing it up. I remember after the game against the Edmonton Elks in week 1, Chris Jones said, "I threw everything I have defensively at the kid, and he tore us up." Just a little reminder of what might be possible as soon as next week when they finish their regular season against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers on the road. Rourke may be ready for that game along with Lucky Whitehead and Brian Burnham.
Rourke is still second in the league in passing touchdowns at 25. Zach Collaros has 35, and then Rourke has 25. MBT in Toronto with 21. Here's a completion. Mitchell again. Out to the 30.
Well, it's really quite exciting, and I think an inspiration to young kids playing football. That Trey Ford, a young Canadian that went through youth sports. Now Nathan went down south for college, but again, grew up in Canada, Canadian kid that if you're playing the position at quarterback at any age right now, it's possible. Stick with it. Keep working at it. Maybe you'll be the next one.
Ford trying to take off. And Woods had a good beat on him, forced him out of bounds. Talking with Ford earlier in the week, he talked about watching and just being around and being in the league this year. He said there's so much to learn. That's what he's realized this year, is that there's so much to learn. And we talked about 4 games into the season. Arbuckle struggles early. People go to Ford and say, this is the guy. Cornelius kind of wasn't even in the plans at the beginning of the year. And then Ford got hurt. Cornelius plays well, gets the contract. But Ford pointed out that so many great quarterbacks in this league take 2 or 3 years to even get an opportunity and then prove what they can do.
Jackson drew a PI call there. And I've had these conversations with Zach Collaros. And I've asked him, because it's not just Canadian kids. It's not. It could be Div 1, Oklahoma State or Alabama or whatever that's come up to play the quarterback position. How many have we seen that couldn't learn it, couldn't figure it out, couldn't get the nuance of Canadian football? And asked Zach Collaros about it, and he said, you really have to invest yourself. I mean, if you come up here from the States thinking, I'm going to play quarterback and tear it up because I was a Div 1 star down there and a Heisman Trophy candidate, how many have we seen that haven't been able to learn it because they haven't invested in learning it? And that's what Zach did.
He talks about that quite a bit, Zach.
That's why he's the player he is right now. That's what these guys got to do, and Trey Ford's going to be there.
There's Terrell Walker for the first time today. Big catch from Ford.
I think he's shown some great mechanics tonight, some great accuracy at times. Yes, he's young and has made some mistakes. Showed he's an unbelievable runner, but so is Taylor Cornelius.
Cornelius moves well for a big guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes it doesn't look like he's going that fast because he's so big, but he moves extremely well. As that big stride as Ford is taken down here, Menard able to get a hand on him and hang on to him. That'll be his 9th sack of the season.
So as it looks now, BC Lions will host the Calgary Stampeders in the West semifinal. Calgary with a good running game of their own, outstanding defense. We'll have them tomorrow night in Saskatchewan.
A look at the Calgary Stampeders. No shortage of storylines with the Riders to discuss on the broadcast tomorrow.
You think?
What a week.
Yeah, you think?
Here's Ford in trouble again, gets it away to Walker, puts on the brakes, wrapped up though, and taken down before he could go anywhere by the former UBC Thunderbird, Ben Holatic.
Yes, Mason Fine will start tomorrow's game for Saskatchewan, not Cody Fajardo.
Decision that probably flew under the radar a little bit for China this week.
No, it was the radar. It was.
Creep inside, 3 minutes here in the fourth quarter. Another third down, 3rd and 15 for Ford. Looking for a big chunk, and he's got it. Drops it in there for Darrell Walker. Second catch for Walker on this drive. And Ford trying to find a little bit of momentum here late in the season for the Edmonton Elks. They trail 31-14. Darrell Walker putting together a decent bounce-back season. Well, a special night here as we wrap up the season in Edmonton. A little dark, but there's that military flyover, CF-18 Hornets out of Cold Lake.
Yeah, over 200 servicemen and women at the game tonight. Tyler Guinard nails the field goal at halftime, and I want to shout out and thank our men and women in the Canadian Armed Forces for all that they do. I mean, all you have to do right now is watch the news to know what's going on in the world. And boy, we sure do thank their efforts every single day to protect our way of life. That was, by the way, Cold Lake Squadron. I believe it was the 419 because that's the jet squadron up there. And we've had a chance to go up to Cold Lake a couple of times and had the honor to talk to
you been up in one
the men and women. I haven't been in a jet, but I was in their rescue helicopter.
Okay.
In fact, able to sort of, well, I'm going to say I flew it, but I really didn't.
Sure you did, Glenn.
But thank you to the men and women of the Canadian Armed Forces. And here represented tonight are the Army, Navy, and Air Force. So to all the branches, thank you so much for your service and for all you do to protect us.
I was at an air show in Lethbridge one time when I was working in radio news, and they took me up in a plane. The trick was they go up high, cut the engine, and then dive down. Never again. Never again.
So how many G's? Did you know the G's?
I was yelling the whole time, 6 G's! They're like, we're barely even moving, calm down. But yeah, they let me take the stick on that one too. I kind of flew over my house at the time. It was kind of neat.
So we both flew then.
Yeah, I mean.
We're going to stick with that story.
Yeah. Maverick and Goose up here in the booth. Menard down, team leading, 8 sacks there. He got his 8th tonight. Very good on the defensive side of the ball. On the offensive side of the ball, how about this guy tonight? James Butler, a well-deserved seat on the bench over there. It's your dual action play of the game for Advil.
This will be probably the only time that a 7-yard play will be the play of the game, but it represents what James Butler did tonight. I mean, his total was 136 on 23 carries. But that was the type of game he had. As long as I think was only 16 tonight, but it was just an unbelievable effort.
That's a tone setter right there, that run, right?
Absolutely.
You're not going to stop. They had him behind the line of scrimmage, and he still picked up a hard 7 yards.
So 7 hard yards of the 136 that James Butler had. Their at-full play of the game. He was the best player on both teams tonight.
3rd and 10. Trying to avoid another turnover on downs. Arsenault and Walker over in the slot to the right of Ford. Ford in trouble, trying to get away, and he does. Now he's going to take a look down the field, throws it towards the end zone, intercepted. Sliding over there for the 2nd time today.
He didn't get enough on it.
Marcus Sales.
Yeah, sorry, Dusty. He didn't get enough on it. He had Darrell Walker right at the back line. And he just sort of short-armed it. I don't know if it was just his footwork. He gets around here, he's throwing it on the run, but in behind everybody, right there is Darrell Walker. You see him right at the back line. Watch Walker. Right back there, he's like, hey, whoa, I'm open. And he just didn't get enough air on it to get it back there.
3rd and 4th interceptions of the season for Marcus Sales. Had 7 knockdowns coming in to this game as well. 5th turnover of the game for Edmonton. And we'll have a flag just before that ball was snapped. Here, we talk a lot about James Butler, but here's a look at his work tonight.
Yeah, just take a look. I mean, this was early on in the game. He kept the first drive alive. After the Elks had scored the first 7 points of this game, BC, because of Butler, came back and tied it up at 7 on their first drive of the game, too. It set up a touchdown throw, but Butler just hard running all night long. Gets our play of the game and is the player of the game.
Back to Butler again. Gonna grind it out right down the stretch here. BC Lions, November 6th, will host the Calgary Stampeders in the West semifinal. Winnipeg will certainly be watching that one. And BC, of course, holds the tiebreaker with the Calgary Stampeders, which is why that's already locked up. Yeah, they've clinched 2nd in the West.
Yeah, because Calgary and Saskatchewan play 2 games. They play tomorrow night and then the final week of the season. But
Vernon Adams Jr., 4-2 since they brought him in.
Yep.
To keep things moving along and lock up this spot. This is why VA was essentially brought in here. And
I
now
he's had a game tonight.
likely set to return. Mission accomplished for Vernon Adams. Nowhere to go on this.
18 of 24, 211. Touchdown and the 1 interception. He's only thrown 1 pick as the starter for the Lions. This is the last time they hosted a playoff game. John Jennings was the starting quarterback in that one against the Bombers. The Bombers will cool their heels until the West Final at home at IG Field. But the last game of the regular season last week for the BC Lions was sold out in the lower bowl. Great crowd in that one. I imagine playoff tickets are going to be selling. Going to be hot items.
Looking forward to being there for that game. On the other side, a disappointing season about to come to a close for Chris Jones. His first here. This will be 17 home losses in a row.
Yeah, and he wasn't talking about that the last 4 weeks, trying to figure out the formula. But listen, they've gone through a lot of players, and he's got to have a real good idea. They've gone through 103 players, either dressed or on the injured list, 96 different players on the active game roster. 26 different players were targeted as receivers in this football season. So
68 guys started.
He's done his evaluation. I think he's got 2 quarterbacks they can really build around, and some pieces we talked about. Kevin Brown, Dylan Mitchell. You know, there's still some things he's got to do, find a couple players. I think Taylor Cornelius grew a ton this year and is going to be so much better in year 2 when he comes back next season.
Talked to Jones a couple of days ago on a Zoom call. I said, so season ends, what's it like for you? He goes, well, he showed me his big board. He goes, I got all these guys that I want to see, and I'll be at a camp next week trying to get players for next year. So, right back to work, right?
Well, and you know what, to be honest, and let's be honest, I'm not sure how much runway he'll have in the beginning of the regular season next year. I mean, he's got a long-term contract, but
he got a 4-year deal, didn't he?
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's a disappointing season, and this skid at home, has been the worst part about it.
Pass batted down on first down with 51 seconds on the clock.
So I'm not sure the Elks can go 1-4 next year and not win at home and look at Game 5 with status quo. I'm not firing anybody. I'm just saying.
Sounds like you're firing somebody.
How much runway will he have to start the season next year? I'm not sure.
They gave him a lot of responsibility. Came in here working with G-Roy. Ford drops this one over a defender, and a completion into the hands of Manny Arsenault, who says he'd like to continue to play as well. He's got a catch in 125 consecutive games. But lots of challenges for Edmonton to try to bring this franchise back to what it once was and win back a lot of the fans that have gone away over the last few years. Another completion here for Ford late in the game.
Yeah, and I want to talk about the fans that have been here, and because I read today that it was an average of over 20,000 or something, and I know at times being here didn't feel like that.
Yeah,
certainly didn't look like that. So maybe some of the season ticket holders were staying home and watching on TV or whatever. But we often talk about what's missing, and we don't thank and talk about those loyal fans, because there's been over 20,000 on average according to the stats that we get on a weekly basis. But it has been such a rich tradition here in Edmonton, and they got to turn it around for next year.
This place would be rocking if they could deliver a winner here in Edmonton once again, something that Jones has done once in the past. Certainly not going to do it this year, or hasn't done it this year, and unfortunately unable to deliver a home victory this year as well. BC Lions maybe just getting started on what could be a pretty special run. Man, the West playoffs are going to be insane, right?
I mean, well, both sides, honestly.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. We've been doing a lot of games in the West, but you're right, the East.
And I'm telling you right now, I'm not ruling out the Hamilton. If they get in the crossover, we'll find out tomorrow. If Calgary wins, that's it for Saskatchewan. They cannot cross over. Hamilton takes that third spot in the East, and don't rule them out. Take a run. They've beaten Toronto and Montreal this year.
Through the hands of Loxley and Trey Ford. That's one he would have liked to have. He doesn't have a receiving touchdown this year.
All season long, I felt like he's been one of my favorite players, my favorite athletes to watch. But he needs to get with the Rice. That's all I'm saying.
That's when those hands got to lock up.
Well, he's not been a receiver his whole life, certainly not at this level.
Yeah.
So, he's just got to strengthen those hands just a little bit more, because there was a few too many of those. And he'll say, hey, I can catch it, man. And I know he can, but the Rice will help. Tell him, do the Rice.
That look on Chris Jones' face is a look that you've seen far too many times this year. If it is John Ryan's final game as a professional, once again, congratulations to him. Accomplished a lot in his career on both sides of the border. And the BC Lions have done their job. They've locked up home field advantage against the Stampeders in the West semifinal.
Congratulations to a great pro, and it looks like by his reaction, this may be John Ryan's last game. Fantastic career in pro football for John Ryan, and an outstanding citizen.
BC Lions come in and get the job done for Edmonton. Winless at home yet again. They will go 0-9, dropping a 31-14 decision here tonight to the BC Lions, the BC Lions team that is heading in the right direction at just the right time. Victorious tonight with Rourke and some of his weapons getting healthy. Could be the beginning of something special in BC. That's going to do it for us. Off to Sports Center. Good night from Edmonton.
And welcome into Sports Center. He's Mark Rowe. I'm Sarah Davis. A big Friday night of football. Second last week in the CFL, Mark. We're already here. The Red Blacks, Tiger Cats fighting for a playoff position. Red Blacks, though, could be eliminated with a loss on Friday night.
And for Hamilton, they wish the overall record was better given their expectations, but they have momentum going into the end of the season. They're also getting a little bit closer to a playoff spot. Hamilton can clinch a postseason berth with a win and a Saskatchewan loss on Saturday opening drive. Dane Evans drops back. Lorenzo Malden strips and recovers the ball. Malden's league-leading 16th sack, the most by any Ottawa player in a season since 1992. Second quarter. It's now 10-7 Ticats. Evans completes to Stephen Dunbar, but Brandon Dandridge rips the ball out of Dunbar's hands. He takes it the other way, and this, a 51-yard touchdown. The Red Blacks have 17 forced fumbles on the season, third most in the league. The Ticats punted on their next drive. The Red Blacks marched down to Hamilton's 1-yard line. First and goal, Caleb Evans, his second rushing touchdown of the game, his 15th rushing touchdown of the season. That sets a new CFL single-season record for the most rushing touchdowns by a quarterback. But Evans punched the ball away. Guess he's not into the souvenirs and the memorabilia. Now tied at 24 in the fourth quarter. Evans takes it himself. It's an 11-yard run, but he dives forward and injures his throwing hand on the play. Head coach Orlando Steinauer said post-game his injury is still being evaluated. So Matthew Schultz into replacement quarterback. And tied now at 27 with under 2 to play. Schultz takes it himself, weaves through the defense. It's a 25-yard run. Schultz hasn't played since August 26th. He puts the Ticats in field goal range after a 5-play, 45-yard drive. Final play of the game. Seth Small from 30 yards out. And this is good. Hamilton gets their third straight win for the first time this season. They move one step closer to the playoffs. And here's Schultz on Dean Evans.
He's one of the best teammates I've ever had, especially in that quarterback room. And he just said, go do what you do in practice. You know, we talk all week, just staying ready, regardless of who's out there. And that's the message Coach preaches. You know, it's just next man up mentality. So I appreciate all the support from Dane on the sideline throughout the week and, you know, throughout this whole season. He's just been awesome.
Can't say enough. That guy just shows up when called upon. He's steady. Yeah, super proud of him. I would be lying to you if I said I was surprised.
I think CFL stands for Crazy Fun League. I'm having a blast up here.
Is that what we're going to call it?
Is that
from
the
now
new
on?
slogan? I like it.
Okay, Seth.
So not only has Hamilton won their last 3 games, all 3 of those victories have been coming from behind wins. Now again, if the Riders lose to the Stamps on Saturday, Hamilton will clinch a playoff berth. Tabbies can also clinch a playoff spot by winning next week in Ottawa. And with more, let's welcome in Kate Burness and the panel.
And that panel is Davis Sanchez, Matt Dunnigan, Milt Stiegel, and that's right, Mark. The Hamilton Tiger Cats did their job, and now they're just going to be watching the Saskatchewan Roughriders tomorrow to see if they actually do get that postseason spot. But just a gutsy victory, and hand it to Ottawa, too. I mean, they've had a lot of games this season like this where they fight to the end, and just not quite enough. But for Hamilton, that last drive of the game was really telling, especially with the fact that Dane Evans had gone down and Matthew Schultz able to come down and orchestrate it.
Resilient effort by those Tiger Cats. I mean, you look at who they were playing. Yes, the Ottawa Red Blacks only 4 victories, but we knew they were going to be a scrappy team, and these Tiger Cats were able to overcome it. You know, it wasn't the best first half, but they came out and they did what they had to do. You mentioned the Schultz coming in for the injured Dane Evans with the big run. STE, Sean Thomas Earlington had a great game, and once again, Tim White continues to impress with big plays at those opportune times. So these Hamilton Tiger Cats are putting themselves in a good position. They still control their own destiny. And if the Rough Riders lose tomorrow, these Hamilton Tiger Cats seal a playoff spot.
Yeah, Milt, didn't start off well for Hamilton. It looked like it did. They scored 10 points with the win at their back in the first quarter, but they had left some points on the field. Right. And we saw Seth Small, who went 5 of 6 on the night, missed a 53-yarder, and then he was perfect from that point forward. And that's huge when you're in conditions like that. And you saw him kick the game winner at the end there. He's been money down the stretch, but it certainly wasn't offense. Maybe a little Sean Thomas Erlington there and Tim White mix him in there, but that was about it. Dane Evans was not on point today. Matthew Shields had a nice heroic drive to seal it, but this football game was won with special teams and Seth Small and defense. Micah Johnson was all over the football field.
He was Debo.
And Santos Knox continues to do his thing and have an all-star season. This defense is rounding out form. This football team is 4-1 in their last 5 football games and finding ways to win.
Yeah, that's it. Finding ways to win, too. Milt said it before the game that this is a team he thought had a shot at the end of it all. And when you can win with your defense and you can win with special teams, that's 2/3 of the game. Offensively, when you have Tim White and Dunbar and STE guys making plays, even their kick return game, they have a dynamic guy back there. So I agree, it wasn't pretty today, but if you look at all three facets of the game, moving forward, you have a bunch that is capable because you win in different ways.
You know what, and for the Rough Rider fans, too, they're watching this game. Obviously, they didn't like this one. And they have Mason Fine starting for the first time in his CFL career. So it all get very interesting with just this week and next week left in the CFL regular season as we send it back to SportsCenter.
Thanks, Kate. Yeah, meanwhile, the BC Lions had a chance to clinch a second place in the West with a win over the Elks on Friday. Lions defensive back Luches Purefoy came out in the Pennywise mask. I mean, that's not creepy at all.
Yes.
Getting that Halloween spirit a little early. BC, they outscored Edmonton 105-29 over their first 2 meetings. Lions down 7-0 in the first. Vernon Adams Jr. steps up in the pocket, finds Keon Hatcher for the score. With a win, the Lions could clinch their first home playoff game in 6 years. The Elks entered with a CFL record 16 straight home losses. And late in the first, Elks down 10. Canadian Trey Ford throws it up, gets picked off by Marcus Sales, who takes it all the way inside the 10-yard line. Ford playing in place of the injured Taylor Cornelius. But that sets up the Lions in great field position. And from the 2-yard line, Antonio Pipkin takes it wide and has to go a long way before reaching out for the pylon. The Lions led 24-7 at the half. Now let's go to the second half. Elks down 14, looking to get back in it. Ford takes it up the middle, but he gets stripped by Jordan Williams, and the Lions recover the ball. It's Edmonton's 3rd turnover of the game. This one led to a field goal. Now the Elks haven't won at home since October of 2019. Well, those Lions, they keep on rolling. And coming up on Saturday, we've got another CFL doubleheader on TSN. Here are the odds powered by FanDuel. The Argos slight favorites on the road in Montreal. Toronto can clinch home field advantage in the East Final with a win, and that's followed by the Stampeders favored by 3 in Saskatchewan. The Riders opting to go with Mason Fine at quarterback. Coverage starts at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific.